it looks like that.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our board meeting. We're going to start with a roll call. Sam here. We are all here. If you'd please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prior to this, the board met in closed session and we have no reportable action from that. However, we will be voting on one of those items in open session right before the consent agenda. You know, we have opportunity for public comment during our meeting. There's multiple opportunities. If you're here to speak on an item that is on the agenda, we'll call for public comment during that agenda item. If we have less than 10 speakers, you will have 3 minutes each. If we have more than 10 speakers, we'll reduce that time to 90 seconds so everyone has an opportunity to be heard. We'll also have the open public comment for items not on the agenda, which we will be doing shortly. I would like to comment on the open public comment. There have been a number of people who have asked why we don't respond to public comment during that time, and I wanted to just provide some clarity on why the board does not respond or interact or answer questions at that time. There are two reasons for that. One is the Brown Act, which is the law that governs the open meeting processes and regulations, says that board members should not engage with the public other than to refer items to staff or give brief directions on follow-up. It's not really a discussion time, it's not really a question and answer time or anything like that. Also, we have a First Amendment right for members of the public to come and address their government, and we do not have the opportunity or the ability to challenge those comments. People have the right to their freedom of speech as long as it is an item within the subject matter jurisdiction of this board. However offensive it may be, we as a board don't have an opportunity to address those, nor can we legally discourage those. So I just want people to know why sometimes we sit here silent when you all wish we would be saying something, and that's because we have some legal constraints on us for doing that. With that, we're going to move right into our items. We're going to start off with item 3.4, which is recognition of the 2023 nominee for Placer County School Counselor of the Year. And I believe RJUHSD, you're going to take us through this?
So, those of you that don't know, this National School Counselor Week, and later on in our board meeting, agenda 7.6, the board will actually be proclaiming that the first week in February from this point forward will be School Counselor Week in the Roseville Joint Union High School District. But this evening we get an opportunity to recognize and celebrate one special school counselor from within our district. And so we want to take an opportunity to do that this week, or excuse me, this morning. This evening. So DeWitt Jones is a National Geographic photographer. He is very, very well known for a phrase celebrating what's right with the world. And if you look at, these are some of his photos that he's taken over the years. And you can see the incredible time that it must take in order to get just the right lighting, just the right angle, just the right look in order to get some of these photos. And one of the things that he says is every day people are presented with unfortunate news, sights, events, and opinions, making the blissful aspects of life oftentimes feel out of reach. But instead of focusing on the negative parts of life, what if we concentrated on the illustrious and bountiful splendor of the world? What would the world look like if everybody celebrated what was going right instead of what was going wrong? What I would say that DeWitt Jones has gotten right here is that is quite often, and I would say on a daily basis, the lens that our counselors look at things through. They really try to work with all of our students and try to find the thing that is right with the world for them and help them refocus their lenses. Just to give you a few things that our counselors do. Our counselors help our students see opportunity in changes that are happening around them. They help our students develop self-confidence. They help our students create school climates that are caring and supportive. They help our students struggling with bullying, mental health concerns, relationship issues, and adjusting to high school. They help our students process when they're frustrated or fed up with a specific class or course. They help our students when they don't feel smart enough to pass a class, or that no amount of studying will help them pass a class. They help our students who are questioning what they should do after graduation. They help them grapple with the fears of going to college. They help our students see the value in their passions like art, athletics, music, technology, etc. They help our students develop their social and emotional skills that encompass everything from bravery to curiosity to self-determination. They help our students reach their fullest academic and personal potential. They help our students see the beauty in themselves, and they help our students see what's right in the world, even when they can't see it right in front of their faces. All school districts are as blessed as we are to have teams like this. We have some 35 counselors that are working around the district, and these are the teams that work day in and day out tirelessly with our students, with our parents, and with our community. And today we want to spend a little bit of time just recognizing this year's School Counselor of the Year, Bethany Olander. We had 11 incredible counselors that were nominated and are going through a very similar process that we presented to you last week, where this is the beginning of the process. They will, from this point on, Bethany will head up the road to Placer County Office of Ed and will be in the process there for the County Counselor of the Year, and then we'll move on, if she's selected there, to this potentially be the State School Counselor of the Year. So with that, I want to allow Principal Govea to come up and say a few words about Mrs. Oatman.
Okay. I don't, whichever's easiest. Thank you, Rob, for those words about our entire district's counseling team. I think they're certainly a part of all of our school sites that we even lean on when we need some support. The stress of the job can be heavy on our shoulders as well. This is Bethany Olander, our Teacher of the Year, and I'm extremely proud to be here to say a few things about her. Bethany has been a strong asset to the Oakmont counseling team by advocating for students, helping them navigate high school academically and personally, and sets goals for post-high school for them. She is well versed in the American School Counselor Association, the ASCA national model, and has worked hard to help her school implement this counseling model with fidelity. Bethany has also taught herself how to use ARIES effectively to document interventions and identify students' needs. She has learned how to use and create queries, use ARIES analytics, maximize the academic planner, and use various dashboards within that system. During our intervention response team meetings, Bethany has been on the forefront of helping the team gather student data and use it to determine what systems will support each student. Bethany has taken a complex student information system and has learned how to use that database to make her job and the job of others a lot easier. Bethany is a strong communicator and is well respected by her peers, teachers, parents, and students. She strives to advocate for all students and immerses herself in and outside of the learning environment so that she can stay current on counseling practices. Bethany has developed a strong connection with our wellness staff by collaborating about students, joining various site and district committees, and also supporting students leading the National Alliance on Mental Illness Club. Bethany has also been an active member of our campus community in various ways as a home visit coordinator, site council representative, and continuous school improvement team member at different times in her career here at Roseville Joint. She continues to contribute to our leadership team and provides insight from a counselor's perspective. Her experiences have been invaluable for the growth of our campus and counseling program. Bethany has an ever-present commitment to serve the students, both at the site and district level, in addition to doing her best to fulfill her duties with her caseload of students with kindness and compassion and help them achieve their goals and meet their needs. Ms. Bethany Olander, our teacher.
Everybody's got to come around you still. There's more people to come. Gotta stand there and hold that. You're good. You're good.
We'll probably start off. Marla, you want to start off with us, and we'll work this direction?
Sure. Did Roseville High School had an open drop-in for the teachers to come by and say whatever they wanted to say. It was actually a very enjoyable conversation. They had things they wanted to share, and I was able to ask questions. And today I was at Wood Creek doing the same thing. So I really appreciate all the teachers who are willing to come early and just spend a little time with me. I'd like to try to get all the schools to do that, and I appreciate Jessica. I don't know if I saw her here. She helped. Oh, the podium. She helped facilitate and set up all of that for me. So I think I wish everyone would be able to have more conversations like that. This is a tough environment to connect and really learn from one another. So I appreciate having that chance.
You?
Counselors, for all that you do. Congratulations to Bethany for Counselor of the Year. I attended my first SILT committee meeting last week. That was very informative. I enjoyed that. And I also attended a board training at the CV Center on Monday. So that was great too. Got to meet some board members from other districts and network a little bit. So that was great.
Yeah, congratulations and thank you for all the work that you do on behalf of the students and everyone in the district. And then I wanted to thank Mrs. Fork and Natalie for meeting with me last week, feels like a year ago, just to kind of get to hear about what things that what's going on, what are kind of the hot issues for the RCA, and you know what the future looks like for them as well as for the district. Thank you for your time, and 2 hours flew by. Goes fast.
Congratulations, Bethany. You're behind the podium for me tonight. I was able to get out to West Park High School, the movie set. I always feel like I'm at either a college or a movie set. It's such a beautiful campus. So thanks for hosting us. We got to have a great committee meeting, I guess. I'm calling it a committee, Jen. Yeah, for intervention. I loved it. Thanks for having me. I've thought about it every day. It's one of my favorite topics. So I thought it was really productive, really encouraging. I loved how you guys are doing your Panther time, and it was great just to be on your campus and see all the kids. I haven't been able to be there when classes are in session. So I want to tag on with Marla on some of your campus visits too. I wasn't able to do both last week, but I'll coordinate with you and Dr. Moore in the next couple weeks.
Thank you. I want to also offer my congratulations on the counselor award. I know the counselors have a really invaluable role at the schools. I know my own daughter Amanda spent many hours dropping in and saying hi and visiting, and the support they gave her really allowed her to be able to advocate for herself when she got to college, and she's been very successful in large part because of that counseling office. So thank you for everything you do. Some may know that the County Office of Education received a petition to move some of the residents who are currently in the Center School District into the Roseville Joint High School District and the Roseville City School District. This board has not yet taken a position on that officially, but there are a number of issues of concern that this board has had as it relates to that transfer. Last night there was a public hearing, the Placer County public hearing. There'll be another one in Sacramento County, because as you know, we span 2 counties, and Center is a Sacramento County district, and we're a Placer County primary district. That hearing was held here last night. I spoke on behalf of our district to say that we did not have an official position, but we did have a number of concerns, and I outlined those concerns so that the County Commission on School District Reorganization, I think that's their proper name, would understand the items that they would need to look closely for to protect the interests of our school district. Both the Roseville City School District and the Center School District were there as well, giving their input. The board will have their second hearing, as I mentioned, in Sacramento County. That will be on February 25th. I believe our superintendent is going to go in my place because I will be out of town on that particular day. The county has 120 days to analyze the issue and put out recommendations. So it's an ongoing process that we'll hear more about, but I just want to let you know that I was there to represent our interests. Along with Ludmilla and Marla, I went to the Placer County Office of Education's training for board members on Monday. Additionally, I got a few places here in the district. I had a great opportunity to go to Granite Bay and walk around with the principal. And Alex took me to, what do you call that? Is it the Student Senate? And we got a chance to talk to a large number of students there. Was out at Pathways today, looking at all the different programs that they had. Talked to one of our librarians about some of the concerns that they have and sort of our library issues that we will be addressing as a board here in the future. I also went to Oakmont a couple of times for a basketball game and the cheerleading competition, but quite frankly, I was just there to support my daughter, not really there as a board member. So lots of things going on, and we'll be out at all of those places. With that, I'll pass it over to the superintendent. Do you have any comments for us?
Yeah, just last week I had the opportunity in my role as president-elect for State CIF. We had the State Executive Committee and the State Federated Council down in Long Beach. And so there was some really good positives and some things that were some initiatives we're working on. The first positive is I was proud to be part of the leadership team and the passing of girls flag football becoming an official CIF sport. Right now, it'll likely be the fastest growing sport in the country. There's a couple states doing it right now. Think of those Powder Puff games, and they'll have 20 contests doing that against other schools. I think it's going to actually be more intense than some of the football games. But we're getting a lot of recognition. The NFL is donating over $1 million for schools to get it started. Nike's come through with like $500,000 to get it started. So there's a big push to make this a success starting next fall. So we'll start working with our school sites to see if we can generate that to get it going. So we are excited about that. And then the next one we were talking about is a national effort right now, which is to really curb bad adult behavior at contests. We're seeing a shortage of officials, and they're all quitting because they can't handle the abuse they're getting from parents at games. Just last night alone in our section, police had to escort 5 games had to be stopped because fans had to be police escorted out, and 1 game had to be stopped and replayed without fans in the bleachers.
So we're dealing with that. You're going to start to see some PSAs that they come out into your school communities. We have a huge toolkit of resources. You're going to start to see some PSAs and things like that on how the 99% of people who actually come and do positive things and enjoy the environment can have a voice and stand up, and we're going to try to encourage that. The good thing is, and I just got to see this right before the board meeting, to show the positive things when it comes to that and what can happen. Last night, Antelope played, girls basketball played, and they had their senior night. At halftime, it turned into an impromptu Cupid shuffle where all the parents, even the players joined in before the start of the second half, and everybody came down onto the floor and did a Cupid shuffle, and it was great. And then they started the second half and played. So there are things that can happen very positively when, again, just like Rob was saying, when we focus on the reasons why we're there and the right things, really cool positive experiences can happen. So that's what I have to share.
New board members. Kate, why don't we start with you? Three pathways.
Thank you. I'd first like to thank you and all of our counselors, just because speaking as a student myself, having that access and having that support is really important in, you know, finding and figuring out your career and also steps after high school. So I'd like to thank you. And then as for pathways, last week we had back to school night, which was really fun, and it had a good turnout, and there was popcorn and pizza and all that stuff. And everyone got to play games. And as for this week, our counselors are actually having a Valentine's grant where students can send out positive messages to their peers and their friends to kind of uplift one another. And then next week, we are having our first Spirit Week of the spring semester. So it's called Dressing Through the Decades. So I'm very excited to see our teachers and our staff members dress up in leg warmers and chokers. And so that'll be very fun. And we're also having activities during lunchtime that Monday. As for the middle college side of things are going really good. And like education pathways has been going really good, and English 1A as well. As a student who's taking Sierra classes myself, they are a bit tricky, but I really want to thank all the teachers who are there to support students, because having that opportunity and having that access has been something that I couldn't have accomplished without them. So thank you.
Alex from Granite Bay.
Okay, so again, congrats. Just, you know, one out of the many. But at Granite Bay, we've kind of just been starting up again with student government, getting back from break, getting back into the swing of things. We have our first rally of the spring semester tomorrow. We decided to bring back Sports-a-Rama. I know we kind of left it a little bit, but we're bringing back a little mini version, and then if it goes well, then we'll bring it back next year, like completely. And then we're starting with like Powder Puff stuff right now, so getting signups, trying to get cheerleaders, but that's kind of been a little more difficult than usual. And then, you know, just all of that stuff going on, and then of course, you know, Mr. Sloan just killing it as always, just doing a good job. So, but you know, that's normal for him. That's normal. Just put it in my third period class. But I'm just kidding. No, he's always like in the cafeteria, like connecting with students and stuff. Like, I see you talking with them. Like, you're pretty cool. Yeah. But you know, that's all that's been going on. Just appreciating all the teachers and staff. With it being Counselors Week and all, we decorated their office and everything like that, and tried to make them feel welcome, giving them gifts throughout the week. So yeah, it's been good. But yeah, and then of course Student Senate, where you showed up, which I was very thankful for. And just like being able to have a forum where students can address their issues, like you and Mr. Sloan and other people on admin. That way, like, they feel like their voices are heard. So yeah.
Does anyone see a future politician? Well, thank you both very much for the updates and for the input I know you're going to give as we go through the meeting. Communications. Wonderful. We also have no committee reports this week, but I'm sure we will have committee reports next week. This is the opportunity to address us for any items that are not on the agenda. I've got a small handful of cards here. If you would like to speak, grab a card, fill it out. You don't have to. If you want to speak and don't want to fill out a card, at the end, just raise your hand and I'll have you come up. One.
As Pete just said, my name is Tim. I'm from Jessup. I'm the on-campus representative at Jessup University. And on behalf of student government and Jessup, I'd like to invite your district's high school student leaders to come out to our campus April 14th from 1 to 4 to be at our high school student leaders conference. We're having a variety of speakers. You know at least one of them. One of our keynote speakers is P. Constant himself, who I'm sure everyone here knows. And the second one, for ease of memory, is P. Constant Jr., who I'm sure everyone can figure out is P. Constant's son and also the president of student government at Jessup. We're having a variety of topics. I have some flyers here. Is there some way that I can give them to the board? A variety of speakers come out, including obviously Pete and Pete. And we're going to be talking about general leadership principles, effective written and spoken communication, how to build, manage, and sustain teams. Plenty of other topics will be discussed, and we would love to see you and all the students there. I know the board can't ask any questions, but I know there is going to be at least one question that every student and parent will have, which is how much does it cost? As a college student, that is always my question whenever someone invites me anywhere, and the answer is it's completely free. So we would love to see as many people show up as possible. Once again, I know the board can't ask me any questions, but I'll stick around, and if anyone has any questions, I'll be outside, and I would love to talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker is Melissa McDonald, followed by Meg Weiss. If you're on deck, if you can, at the end of the timer, start making your way up. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you again. Your friendly backseat driver trustee here. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I will since you brought it up, Pete. Thank you for sharing with the audience the process. I see things a little differently, having sat on a board. In Eureka, we also adhered to the Brown Act, but saw it a little bit differently. I agree, you can't interact. It's not a back and forth, and some people don't get that, and it gets real awkward when you're up there. Been there, done it. But as a board throughout COVID, we did have people insult our staff. There was a meeting, unfortunately, during which a parent called one of our assistant superintendent of curriculum instruction a scumbag. That happened. And there were other instances where some of our teachers were called names. And as a board, we didn't directly respond to that individual because that is inappropriate. I agree with you. But we did as a board stand firm. I remember myself and Trustee Sheehy and others saying, we don't condone that kind of talk. And so there are First Amendment rights, but there's ethics and integrity about what you as a board will stand for. And I'm sorry, but allowing anyone, allow them because it's their First Amendment right. But as a board, do you think that our teachers are groomers? It's a rhetorical question, right? So it's like, you're allowed to have a position, I guess is what I'm saying. People can say what they're gonna say, but you're allowed to have a position. And I would encourage you to think about how that affects your staff when they don't see you having a position. But that's actually not what I was gonna say, but I felt the need to say it. What I am here to ask about, and I don't expect a response, obviously, is that there are a lot of us who would really love an update on what's coming next with the curriculum review process and approval process, specifically with supplemental curriculum. I appreciate, Pete, back, I don't remember when, it was before the workshop, you said it was gonna be transparent, the public would be informed. Thank you, we look forward to that. We hope we get an update soon. And I also just wanted to say super quickly, because I have a minute, that there's a lot of talk about parent choice, parent voice, parent input. LCAP stipulates that we get input, but I really want people to think about the difference between parent input and parent approval. Parents don't approve curriculum. Parents don't vote on curriculum. We have a say, we have a voice. You guys ultimately do that, but it's our educators actually who are credentialed to do that, that identify the curriculum and administer it in the classroom. So I just wanted to say that for the record. Parents can have input, they can have a voice, but they don't get a vote in that. Thank you.
Speaker is Meg Weiss, followed by Michelle Tom.
Thank you, Melissa, too. I have a prepared letter that's from 200 members of your community, and I understand, Mr. Constant, your response to us asking for a response. But what we're asking for from you is not to have a dialogue, but when our teachers are disparaged, to please respond. I think it should come in writing as a board at this point, because the statements were aggressive. and I think it's appropriate to respond while still allowing everyone their free speech. I'm not condoning taking away that right. So I will read as much of the letter as I have time. We, the members of your community and the families you serve in the Roseville Joint Unified School District, are waiting for a response to the defamatory, vile, and disturbing accusations made against our public school teachers at the January 12th board workshop. Our community is waiting and wondering, where are our district leaders who are charged with standing up and speaking for public education? Your silence leaves us with questions. Do you value public education? Do you value public school teachers and their expertise? Do you agree with the sentiments expressed that teachers are groomers and indoctrinators who are seeking to harm our children? Do you believe that teachers are professionals who have dedicated their careers to teaching students? And ultimately, do you need to be replaced by someone more willing to advocate for public schools? We appreciate your service to our community, and we know that being a trustee requires a lot of your time, energy, and effort. We also appreciate that you place teachers at the forefront of the curriculum workshop, since they are the professionals who know their students' educational standards and curriculum best. Our teachers prove this daily and reaffirm their professionalism and expertise at the curriculum workshop. They communicated how important it is to them to reach every single learner and how they need to be trusted with the autonomy to bring in materials that will best reach individual students and help those students meet state standards. However, at the same meeting, some parents came out to question the curriculum and call teachers as a group groomers. The statements they made are baseless lies, and those lies sow seeds of fear and mistrust in our community. Your silence and response to the teachers, as a response to the teachers or groomers rhetoric, allows these seeds to take root and cause public mistrust of our educators and our public schools. According to the School Board Association, the school board has 5 major responsibilities. I won't read all of them. The one that is applicable in this case: providing community leadership as advocates for children, the school district, and public schools. When the teachers are attacked by baseless claims, we expect a statement from our trustees reinforcing the facts that RJUHSD employs teachers who are dedicated educational professionals who earn the trust of our community every day. Please advocate openly for our district and for public schools by responding to the demoralizing statements made at the board workshop. Please show our teachers that you value their expertise. Please reassert that public schools continue to be the single best option for preparing students to become productive and engaged members of a diverse society. Your community is waiting for you to respond to the attacks on public education. We look forward to hearing that response from you very soon.
Thank you. Is Karen Combest, followed by Melissa Getzow. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Michelle. And then
I'd just like to follow up what Meg just said, that we really urge you to make a statement. While yes, I understand people have First Amendment rights, they don't have rights to defame our teachers, and you have a duty to protect our teachers, and your silence really speaks volume about how you feel about the teachers. Also, I'd like to ask you to be very transparent about the curriculum review process. Please give us ample notice so we can provide input, and please don't make broad sweeping policy changes that will require board approval of all supplemental curriculum. Please give our teachers the freedom to teach. Thank you.
thank you. Karen, followed by Melissa, the other Melissa.
Hi, good evening. My name is Karen Combest, and I am a mom of a senior who's in her very last semester at Oakmont. And I also have a 2020 graduate. And I was reflecting, I think Facebook helped me reflect the other day when I got one of those memories from 2 years ago. And then today I realized that about a year ago we were at Wood Creek High School having a really good, interesting conversation about mask choice. And I just want to reflect on a year and what has occurred in that year. And just let you know that I'm so grateful for what this district has done to allow, with the help of parents and teachers and obviously the board and the administration, to allow my daughter, a senior, to have a normal year. I want to say thank you, and it's been amazing. And she's even doing that crazy elimination thing, which is not district or school supported, so no worry there. But I think she's getting shot by a water gun today as she leaves for work. Anyway, it's been an amazing year of substantial challenges, and wow, that we're here. I'm just so grateful for that. And I want to cover a couple of things that are also on the agenda, but I'm just going to do it now so that you don't have to see me again. Under the consent agenda, there were several resignations from Oakmont that made me so sad. I know they're retiring, which is happy for them, but I just want to shout out to Ms. Kearns, who literally probably taught both my children how to write with their every Friday essays, which they hated, but then they loved because it helped prepare them for college, and Lauren for her test last year. Mr. Welch, who teaches military history and does it in a way that is super impactful, and it's something my son remembers to this day. And Mr. Jinguji, who I don't know a single athlete at Oakmont that didn't find him or herself in his room having their ankle or their wrist looked at some point, whether they ever took his class. So super sad to see them go. Oakmont will miss them greatly. And then I also wanted to shout out, obviously, Counselor Week. Both of my kids, Kyle and Lauren, had Gina Lacoste, and Lauren has her now. And I just want to say, and I've said this in past meetings, if there's any way to give more funding, more resources to that counseling department, please do it, because they could do not just the great job that they already do, but so much more if they had more time, resources, and energy. And, you know, they do a great deal, and Lauren benefited this year alone from some stuff that she couldn't figure out with the UC application. So thank you, Ms. Lacoste. And then finally, what I will say is the AP pre-calculus class that you're going to approve tonight, gosh, I wish that Oakmont would allow that. They got rid of the honors pre-calc class 2 years ago, but please find a way to source that with a teacher. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Alyssa gets up.
Thank you. Do I want my children reading about rape, brutal treatment of slaves, the horrors of life in a concentration camp, and other horrific events? The answer is, of course, no. However, what would be worse is not allowing them to read or learn about such inhumane treatment. I would rather have my teenagers read about uncomfortable, difficult subjects and have them learn something new and ask questions than to try to shield them from these topics and have them not be aware of the suffering of others or of people very different from themselves. They need to be able to leave high school with the ability to relate to and empathize with others. Our teachers help them do that. If some students are not ready, willing, or able to take on these difficult subjects in high school, teachers will provide suitable substitute materials for these students with no penalty or judgment. The parents that object to these materials and the teachers teaching them may find that the public school system is not the right place for their families. I would respectfully ask the board members to listen to and ask questions of our teachers and let them do their jobs, which is making a positive difference in their students' lives. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the public. That's all the public comment cards I have. Last call. Okay, we're now going to move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything they'd like to pull from the consent agenda?
I'd like to actually the action item so we can recognize our teachers.
Any others?
A reminder of the action for 2 minutes.
Yeah. Come on. One item. Do I have a motion on the remainder of the items? Motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Board Member Franz?
Yes.
Board Member
Yes.
Karko?
Yep.
Aye. Okay. And me, yes. All right. We will now go to item 2.2, which is a pupil personnel issue. Do I have a motion on that item? Motion to approve the stipulated. Yes. Okay. We have a motion in a second. And we'll start on this side. Marla?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Heidi? Yes. Me, yes. That's approved 5-0. We will now go to take 4.7 right now, just so that we don't forget it? Sure. Okay, let's do 4.7 right now, and that is the approval of resignations.
Yes, and the reason why I pulled this is for the same reason that Mrs. Constant brought light to a few of the Combest, sorry. Woo! Who do I apologize to? Yes, but I think it's important to recognize there are 18 teachers on here that have spent 30, most of them 30 plus years in education. Many of them, most of that time in Roseville Joint, and have dedicated their careers to the students in Roseville Joint. And so I would like to publicly acknowledge Angela Ash, Doug Ash, Scott Brawley, Ernie Cooper, Tad Jinguji, Kelly Kearns, Andrew Mueller, Sheila Noyes, Lori Perkins, Carol Pryor, David Ray, Jeannie Sampson, Joy Sanner, Myron Stevens, Greg Strawn, Michael Valentine, John Welch, and Christine Wilson, who have all been outstanding teachers in Roseville Joint, and they have submitted their resignation for purposes of retirement at the end of the school year. And we will recognize them again on May 4th at Wood Creek Oaks in our annual retiree celebration that we have. But I didn't want this just to go through on a consent agenda. I wanted to make sure that we understood that we were going to lose some outstanding teachers this year.
Thank you very much. There's a lot of experience retiring out. While it's sad to see them go, we congratulate them on what we hope is going to be a very long and fruitful retirement. Now the challenge is, with the competition we have out there for teachers, getting some excellent teachers to replace them. Do we have any comments? Anyone? Since we pulled this, any public speakers on this item? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve? Yeah. Low second, because we don't want to see them go. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Thank you very much for all these wonderful years of service. And now, yes. Oh, that's supposed to ask. 3 times. Do you have any comments or a vote on this?
Just sad to see some of these teachers go on this list.
Can you approve? I can answer yes. Okay.
I approve.
Why don't you hold them up, right?
That's true.
Kate?
Yes, I approve, but I'd also like to say I appreciate every single teacher or staff member who has ever this district, because seeing so many years of experience is so, it's sad, but it's also like, it's bittersweet because they're retiring, but it's also, we're losing so many amazing staff members.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is RSCA report. Are you ready for us? Are we ready for you?
It's okay, Bill. All right. So thank you very much for listening to us when you guys were coming out. We really had a nice turnout for Roseville. I actually got a lot of feedback from my teachers that they really appreciated having you there, and they were like, we were so happy. So thank you. It was really nice. Pete, we're waiting for you. You were right next door today. Why did you just not come over the fence? Get over the fence. Just hop the fence like our kids do. All right. So true. All right. Even my son said something about that today. That's another story. Okay. So also, we knew that Pete was also going around, so we appreciate that. Julie, it was really nice to sit with you last week and talk. So that was really nice. And I look forward to having like Lumilla come out, also Heidi come and sit around, because the teachers are appreciative and they're noticing, and they really like having you guys there to learn more about what we're doing. We have some amazing programs at all of our sites, right? And it's nice to be able to shine and share it and show that passion with you guys. And that's all I have to say today. Short and sweet. Yes. Thank you.
To school transportation plans 2022-23 and 23-24 draft.
Yes, so this is a new item. In the last state budget, the state of California, for the first time in about 40 plus years, decided to actually provide some more funding to transportation. This particularly helped our district a lot because the funding provided for transportation was based on our district 40 years ago. Many people who've been in Roseville know that there's been a lot of change, a lot more people, and a lot more students to transport. So our funding was grossly less than the cost to provide transportation. So new plan is that we're going to get a lot more funding from the state to recoup those costs. So that's really exciting. And then there are also requirements to provide a plan each year. So this is the first draft of this plan that we put together with the transportation director. Also sought input from RSCA and CSCA, as well as other transportation groups like control districts, etc. So this is meant to be a first hearing so that if the public has any comments or input, and then we anticipate bringing back our final plan at the March meeting.
Workers have any questions on this item? This item's for information only, no action this time. Anything else?
I just had one question. Just one question. In section 3, it says that we currently provide all students access to home to school transportation services. And isn't that within a certain mile radius, like outside a certain mile? So I was just
Yep, correct. We should adjust that. It's within a generally it's a 3-mile walking distance. All special education students we provide transportation, but if you're within the 3 miles,
unless it means if they go somewhere and then they can hop on a bus outside of it. I assume they could if they want.
Yeah, they have a. We have a.
No, you're changing something.
No, there's no
right.
plan change,
Okay.
But and a lot of this process was for many districts over the years stopped providing school transportation, and so the state in order wants to give this funding, but wants those districts to return to providing transportation or have a plan towards it. So this plan is really meant to maintain our.
Other questions?
I have a quick question. I don't know. Percent asking on behalf of part of this that would allow for that mini Wednesday for the kids to get transported later to school versus getting there.
And we've talked about it. There's quite a bit of challenge, especially with us providing transportation for Roseville City School District as well as our district, and a huge bus driver shortage. So we'll continue to explore that if there's other opportunities. But right now, our transportation director.
Anything else?
I just have a request that's sort of out. Me of federal requirements regarding the McKinney-Vento Act on transportation for homeless students. So I'm wondering if we could have at some point maybe just a high-level presentation of the McKinney-Vento Act for the board. Not being a joke. Maybe a short presentation.
We'll move on to our next information item, which is 5.3, core textbook first reading. April?
So this is a first reading for 3 core textbooks related to the IB History of the Americas course. And this is part of that 30-day window where we have them on display. Excuse me, at least at our IB schools, and we may not have it at every single other school. It only applies to Oakmont and Granite Bay. But having them on display for review, they are anticipated. IB allows for choice in the coverage of which history segments are taught. So these 3 are particular to Oakmont in the way they approach history of the Americas, whereas Granite Bay chooses a different segment. So the actual books are only anticipated at the one school because of that segment of history that they are going to be addressing. So this is a 30-day window where we'll be gathering input, questions, concerns, any of that, and we'll bring it back for action anticipated at the March 9th board meeting.
Have any public comment cards? Not, we're going to move right on to our next item, which is our public hearings. We have 2 public hearings Both of these are designed to seek input from the public on the contract proposals from the district to RSEA, and then from RSEA to the district. We'll take them each individually, starting with item 6.1. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Do I have anybody who would like to speak on this item for the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing. Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now closed. With this, we are looking for a motion to accept the district's proposal and refer this information to staff for contract negotiations. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Do we have any discussion on this item? With that, we'll take roll call vote or just voice? I think it's just voice. Members, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? None opposed. That passes unanimously. We'll now move right into item 6.2, and that is the RSEA contract proposal to the district. We'll open the public hearing. I don't have any comment cards. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing. And second, all in favor of closing the public hearing, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. We're now looking for a motion to accept these contract proposals and refer the information to staff for contract negotiations. Motion, second. Other student board members? The regular board, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? None opposed. That passes unanimously as well. 5-0. We are now going to move into our action items. Our first action item is 7.1, adoption of final budget purposes, constraints, and guidelines for fiscal year 2023-24. Joe, I believe you're going to lead us in this.
Yep. This is pretty similar to what I presented to the board at the last board meeting. We did have a recommendation from a board member on some language change, which I incorporated in there. But with that, we are ready to start working on our budget for next year. So staff asks for approval on our budget purposes, constraints, and guidelines.
Comments from board or student board members? Have any cards from the public? Does anyone wish to speak on this item? If not, then I would ask for a motion on the item. To approve. Do I have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Student board members. Other board members, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. That passes 5-0 unanimously. We are now going to move on to item number 7.2, one-time fiscal year 2022-23 arts, music, and instructional materials discretionary block grant expenditure plan.
Yes. Thank you. So this item has gone through an interesting development. When the governor passed his May revised budget, which we used to adopt our budget, there was a one-time $8 billion discretionary block grant that we were expecting to receive and adopted. And then, as you know, we adopt our budget before the state finalizes their budget. So later, when the state adopted their budget, they essentially repurposed all that money and put it towards two different block grants. One is the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, where there's some restrictions on how that money can be spent. That was equivalent of $5.7 million for our district, as well as this block grant that we're discussing today, which at the time was about $6.5 million for our district. And so when we received that initial dollar amount, the plan was to use that to fund predominantly increases to all of our pension expenses, as well as some of the other operational expenditures that had increased over the year. And so this money was kind of taken back and then split into two different categories. And so this category is still a fully discretionary block grant. You can see the different categories it could be spent on. But the main category in the recommendation is to use these funds for operational costs, including the retirement and healthcare cost increases, which we've seen some pretty significant increases over the years. We've been increasing a lot of our expenditures in arts and music. We've had increases in our instructional materials budget. And on the arts and music, we have a recently passed proposition, Proposition 28. We just had a meeting with our principals this past week, and that's going to be some ongoing funding that each of our school sites are going to be able to use to expand their programs. And so we're excited to be able to present that information to the board in the next, probably next month. But our principals are going to start working with their site staff as well as their school site councils and develop plans for those funds. So one thing that's interesting about this grant as well is that the governor just proposed with some of the recent cuts to reduce this grant for the current year from approximately $6.5 million to $4.2 million for the district. So this grant has seen a lot of changes, and so what I'm asking for tonight is approval of this plan to be able to spend it towards that category of operational expenditures in an amount that, from that 4.2 to 6.5 million, because there is talk that while he is proposing reduction, the legislators may not approve it. So staff recommends that approval for that expenditure plan as presented. Any questions?
We're first comments out from the public. Any questions for that? Then we will have our public comment. Deanna Poncetti.
My name's Deanna Poncetti. I have a sophomore at Oakmont. I will have a freshman potentially joining the district next year. I'm speaking up on this one. It came to my attention today. I feel that it is called the Arts, Music, and Instructional Materials Grant for the reason that it should be going towards art, music, and instructional materials. And I did read in the notes, which Mr. Landon did mention, that was written in the agenda, that because our arts and music programs have already received increased funding for 22-23, so that's why it's being asked to, well, we already gave you money, so that makes it okay to earmark this for something different. I understand legally it's a discretionary block. I get it. I understand that's allowed. I don't think it's right. Also, those increases in fundings were long overdue. You had multiple people from the community. You had former band directors here speaking on that. So it wasn't like this, oh, yay, we're just going to come and give you guys a whole bunch of money. Y'all won the lottery. It's very much appreciated. I do have to say that, being the booster president at Oakmont. It has definitely alleviated some of the pressure we're under, especially considering that we are technically a Title I school and we do not have the parent support that other schools in the district do. But it's not as though we are flush with money. The Proposition 28 that the voters passed in this last election, that is true. We're going to see a lot of money from that, but it's being dispersed through a variety of departments. It's not just, arts and music. It's, robotics club. It's, graphic design. It's going everywhere. So it's like, yes, this money is coming in, but it's not as much as people think it is, because it is, it's designated for a variety of areas. I have a feeling how you're going to vote. I just really wanted to speak up because I don't agree with it. And also Prop 28, one other thing to mention is that Prop 28, 80% of it is for like employment for positions. So it's not going directly to our students in terms of, money they can use. It's going towards teachers and the instructors, who are important. They make the program. Mr. Elmore is absolutely the best person ever. So anyway, I just want to thank you for your time. And before I forget, I knew Miss Olmander was amazing when my son had her. He still has her, but I'm just glad you're getting the recognition, because you are truly, we're very grateful for her. So thank you for your time.
Any board comment or motion to comment? One or the other. Comments or motion, please. Not the recommendation. We have a second for that. For lack of a second, have a
question your motive behind? What were your thoughts?
Anticipation of what the only anticipation. So I don't feel like there's enough information behind that to know that that's how it wanted it. You know, there's I understand the discretionary use of this. Big art supporter, and arts fund very important to school, and I get how this substituted because of the accommodations that are being made for the block grant fund because of what we put block. But I just don't agree with it.
Oh, would you like to provide any clarification related to the anticipation or timing?
Yeah, I can provide a little more clarification and some additional information about the improvements we've done to the programs over the last year. So we increased the site-based budget for each site by $10,000 for visual performing arts. That wasn't included in the site-based budget previously. We also increased the mileage that could be used by band programs or other. And so that was an enhancement we did this year. We could have put it under this grant. That was just part of the general fund. And the Proposition 28 has passed. It's been approved, so it will be ongoing. It's statutory. It's required to be 1% of the state Proposition 98 revenues each year. So that was voter approved. So it'll start next year. The part about 80% of it is required to be spent on staffing, but there is a waiver. And so we've been exploring that, and a number of our sites are looking at, some have needs of additional staffing, and some maybe not 80%. And we've been having lots of conversations about what the biggest needs are on each of those sites. And so,
And in effect this year, what was 1% prop money?
so the estimate is $1.4 million that we'll receive. And the benefit to Prop 28 is it's ongoing funding you can rely on each year, where this is one-time funding. And so we'll be able to build and sustain new programs at each of our sites.
So the sites have complete control of that budget.
The plans that are going to be coming to you are going to be coming directly from our principals. And so we had a meetings just so they could understand the grant and understand what's allowed, what's not allowed, and then they'll be submitting it to us, and Ed Services will review it, make sure it's compliant, makes sense. But the site plans that will come to the board. It's based on the number of students. So when you look at each comp site, there's a formula that's the number of students, and then there's an additional amount based on the number of students that are eligible for free and reduced. So schools that have a higher, like Title I population, get a little higher amount. But when you look at a comp site, it was generally around $200,000, $200,000+ that they'll be receiving. And, so yeah, all of them are excited and working on their plans.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So Oakmont, since that was mentioned, will be getting $211,000. And so that the site, working with their booster clubs, their admin, their staff, will decide how that's done. And if we go with waivers, because right now, trying to find that many staff across the state would be almost impossible. And you can't supplant. So you can't take something you already have and then change the funding. So it has to be something above and beyond. But so that is the benefit of this. And from state level conversations, everybody's angry and advocating at the capital level for the discretionary block grant, because most districts are using it the exact same way we are. It's because of cuts in other places and the way funding works and anticipated cuts coming. And so the other thing they've been talking about is more budget allocations like this, where it'll bypass district and everything and go straight to school sites for site level decision making. So there could be actually more funding coming just like this that will be specific to sites for their approval and jurisdiction.
Any other comments? We have two options here. There can be a motion to approve, or if there's no motion, this item essentially dies. Staff can bring it back with.
Can we compromise and just put a little,
We can do whatever we want.
well,
quite
I
frankly.
well, I know.
We feel like that we addressed a lot of the VAPA concerns, and that came up. I remember I talked to Richie Hodge, and he was very thankful of all the increases we made. So we need to do additional things. That's where we have this new grant we're excited about, because that'll let us to go even further.
Sure. Timing requirements of this correction.
In order to spend the dollars, you have to get this approved. So it's
School year. I think what would be appropriate is if we do not get a motion for approval, then I believe the appropriate thing would not be to make sausage up here and try and do it on the dais, but to give guidance and direction to our professional staff to look at options that may better fit the direction of the board. I'll let you think about that for a second. What you would like to do.
See athletics and performing arts. This is the first time. School is a welcoming, safe environment that serves as the center of student learning, activities, athletics, and performing arts.
In order to help prod this along, I'm going to make the opposite motion just to see if we get the seconds, so that we can have further discussion. Otherwise, I'm going to deem it to have failed. Just send it back to staff. So I'll make a motion to approve. If there's a second, we'll move forward. If there's not, we'll let this be able to come back at a later date. Just for it to take its last breath. So, Joe, I suggest you take a look at this, do a little bit of outreach, and we will look at this at a later date. We're now going to move on to item number 7.3, which is the Granite Bay High School wireless infrastructure refresh.
Yes, thank you. The purpose of this item is to seek approval of the purchase of HPE Aruba wireless access points at Granite Bay High School. They were due for a refresh. And the remainder of our comp sites, with the exception of West Park, will be scheduled for their refresh next year. We currently have, Ruckus is the name of our access point. And so we're looking forward to having essentially a full HPE product, as well as an upgrade, and that we believe this will provide enhanced Wi-Fi for our students and our staff. And so we are excited to get this going at Granite Bay, work out all the kinks as we do it with Granite Bay with the wiring there. And we went out to bid through E-Rate. You can see the low bid was from CDWG in the amount of $292,849 because it's an E-Rate project. 50% of that cost is covered through E-Rate. So the actual cost to the district is just south of $147,000. Approved to proceed, this project would be part of our summer project list for tech, and then we'd be going through the summer.
Do we have any questions on this item? We do not have any cards for public comment. We have a motion on this item. We have a second. Motion and a second, starting with our student board members. The full board, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? We'll now move on to item 7.4, CSBA Delegate Assembly Election. We have options here. Would you explain them to us?
For our area here, and the two candidates are Elisa Fong from Roseville City and Jessica Spade from Placer Union. And so, will of the group, who would you like to select? You can select one or select none, but who would you like to put on the ballot?
It's two.
Is it two? Sorry, yeah, sorry, the two vacancies in front. Yeah. All right, I did have it. So,
Two vacancies,
yep.
there's two candidates.
Yep.
I would second that.
So we have a motion and a second to vote for the two candidates, Jessica Spade and Lisa Fong. Board members? Yep. Full board, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? I'm going to move on to resolution number 2301, authorization for certificated employee assignment for the 2022-23 school year.
Yes, Ed Code 44263 states that a teacher can teach a course outside of their authorization if they give their consent, as long as they have 18 semester hours or 9 upper division. And so at this point, we have Robin Guest, who's a teacher in our district who has met that criteria and has volunteered to teach a fitness course, which is outside of her current credential area in credit recovery. So we're asking the board to pass resolution 2301 so that she can do that legally.
If anyone is wondering, it's outside of my specialty. So, do we have a motion on this resolution? Motion to approve. We have a second. The resolution, so we'll do a roll call vote, starting with our student board members. Alex?
Yep.
Kate?
Yes.
Marla?
Yes.
Ludmilla?
Yes.
Julie? Yes. Okay, thank you. That passes unanimously. We are now on to 7.6, approval of proclamation for National School Counseling Week with the School Counseling Better Together title to be celebrated from February 6th to February 10th, 2023.
Yes, so Mr. Hasty this evening earlier when we started the meeting recognized our district counselors as well as Mrs. Olander as our Counselor of the Year representative. And so we're asking the board to actually officially proclaim this week, this first week of February, 6th through the 10th, as School Counseling Week. And we just want to shine a light on all the outstanding work that our counselors do. And so the actual proclamation is attached as an exhibit, and just asking the board to make it official.
Wonderful. Have a motion.
I have a comment.
Okay.
Can we do next year's also right now? So that we have it prepared for the week?
Well, we can give direction, but
We can make
actually
direction,
have to
make
have
sure I
it.
come
We
in
have to have it.
February for the, in January for the February
Yes. Get the
proclamation.
cart before the horse.
Yes.
Yes.
Noted.
I make a motion to.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? This roll call or voice vote? Voice? I'm gonna say voice.
Yes.
Student board members? Full board, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That passes 5-0. Our next item under action matters 7.7, approve a new course. And this, April, are you doing this? All yours.
You haven't been hearing from me much tonight, but we are working behind the scenes and doing lots of great work, including this course as the new AP Pre-Calculus. So it's recently created by the College Board. Our math teams have been reviewing it. They see some potential there, and we're excited to offer it on our books, available for our schools to choose for next year. It's gone through the full process, and at the time of SILT, a little over half of our schools were planning already. They were already on board. And since SILT, I've been talking to other schools that they've just been becoming more and more aware of it. Again, it's new nationwide, but it's gaining in momentum, and so it could even be across the district, but the schools are currently evaluating the interest and the readiness to offer it. So happy to answer any questions, but would appreciate it. Staff recommends we pass the new course.
Do we have any? Any questions
So
from?
just to clarify, so different from honors, this is going to have an AP test.
Correct.
That the kids will take, and it's a grade bump also. Well, I guess honors anyway. But
Yes, our
usually-
policy has grade bumps for AP and IB courses.
So, and maybe this is just an individual situation with what happens to the freshmen that are taking the non-honors AP Calc or non-honors pre-calc class, no grade bump. And anyway, so I know there's one freshman that's doing it at least. So now they've lost out. Just gonna throw it out there. What to do with them? Okay, perfect.
The course is available to all grade levels as well.
Any other questions? I don't have any speaker cards, so with that, I'd ask for a motion on this item. Motion to approve, do we have a second? Starting with our student board members.
Yes.
That doesn't mean you have to take it. You can if you want. For the full board, all of them signify by saying aye. Any opposed? None. That passes 5-0. We'll now move into.
I just have a question outside of this. Sorry. What accommodated who cannot purchase a graphic calculator? Are those available in the classroom for loan?
Yes.
Our next item, pending agenda items. So we have a quick question. Obviously, people are interested in knowing when we take up the second half of our curriculum and instruction discussion. I know that the board sent that to staff for review and working on the board's direction. Do we have an approximate estimate of when we see that come back?
March 9th.
Oh, so we'll have that March 9th. So for those of you out there that were wondering, 1 month from today, we will be having that back. And obviously we'll have those documents out. You may not have noticed, but we're putting our agendas out a little bit earlier for review. We've set a goal to get these agendas out on the Friday before so that you have plenty of time to review these items. Any other questions on pending agenda items? Anything we should know about? Oh, the next meeting in February is not a meeting. So if you show up, you'll be celebrating with yourself. So we won't be back here until that March 9th meeting. Item on the agenda is any additional staff comments. The board, we got ours out of the way already. Starting at the end.
Really appreciate recognizing Ms. Olander as Counselor of the Year, as well as celebrating National Counselor Week. Also shining a light on our retirees and celebrating them a little early in terms of and recognizing their outstanding service. But I really want to make sure that the record shows that Principal Sloan is killing it. I think that's the most important thing that I learned tonight.
Joe.
Also, congratulations to Bethany, and well deserved, and just congratulations to our retirees. Look forward to celebrating them in May. So.
I'll echo the appreciation of our counselors. I've been able to spend the bulk of a couple of days this week with them. We've been looking at transcripts and data and all sorts of wonderful things with counselors and teacher teams together with our principals and one of the county office facilitators, after we just dove into the data and all the complexity of transcripts, asked the whole group of teachers, all right, who wants to be a counselor now? And it was crickets, because we're seeing the amazing work and detail and knowledge of our counselor teams, and it's not something that just anybody can do. There's a lot of training, a lot of energy, and a lot of heart that goes behind that. So thank you to Ms. Olander as our representative, but to all of our school counselors.
Thank you. For the principals, make sure you grab one of these flyers for Tim. With that, we're ready for a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. All right, good night. Thank you, everybody.